guys, Assassin here is Riverside Anglers, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about the basics of fishing a roostertail. And this is basically what a typical roostertail will look like. Now, roostertails, they're a very old lure. They've been around for a very long time, but they do catch a lot of fish, especially small panfish and trout. Now, first I'm going to talk about the main action of the roostertail. Now, roostertails, the main action of them is this blade right here. Basically, when you just cast this through the water and reel it in, this blade will spin just like this, and basically it will create a shine and a vibration that attracts most fish. And that's basically the main action of the roostertail. Next, I'm going to talk about the different types of fish that you can catch on a roostertail. Now, roostertails, typically they're very light, and typically they're for very light fish. You can get these bigger ones that are meant for bass, or like this even larger one that can be used for small muskie or bass. But typically, it really all depends the type of size and the type of different type of size and the type of water that you're fishing on. So if you're fishing on a pond, when you're using a very big roostertail like this, basically you're most likely going to catch bigger fish like largemouth or smaller or bigger panfish. Now, if you're using a roostertail that's very small like this 1/24 ounce, you're most likely going to catch, and if you're fishing on a stream and you're using this very light lure, you're most likely going to catch very small fish like trout or chubs or even shad. So basically, the type of fish that you're going to catch on a roostertail really all depends on the size and the type of body of water that you're fishing them on. Next, I'm going to talk about different types of size of roostertails. Now, roostertails are basically sized on the amount of weight that they have, which is determined on ounces. So like this one, this is a 1/24 ounce. It's a very small one. And this one is basically a 1/4 ounce. It's bigger. It's basically determined by its weight. So basically, that's basically how roostertails are determined by weight. Next, I'm going to talk about different types of color to use for certain type of water conditions. Now, this rule is basically meant for all different types of lures. But basically, if you're going to fish a roostertail in very cloudy water, basically just use very bright colors like this. This hot pink is very popular for many different types of roostertails. Or just use like a neon green or a bright green, just so the fish can see it. Now, if you're fishing a roostertail in very clear water, use very natural colors, like maybe a minnow pattern, sort of like this. This one isn't very natural, but it has a very natural sort of pattern to it, or just a very dull green or even a black. So basically, always make sure that you're fishing the right type of color for certain water conditions. Next, I'm going to talk about the perfect type of rod and reel to use for roostertails. Now, for roostertails, I would highly recommend using a spinning reel, mainly because roostertails are very light, and most of the time you can't cast very heavy lures. You can't cast very light lures with a bait caster. A spinning reel just basically allows you to cast very light lures at a very great distance. And for the rod, I would recommend using a rod that's at least 6 foot in length, with a very light action and a fast action tip. I would highly recommend using a longer rod, and very light rod. I wouldn't recommend using a heavy rod, mainly because a very light rod and a very long rod will basically allow you to get very good distances very good casting distances for very light lures. Now, for the rod that I use, this is just a 5 foot medium power. This rod really isn't that good. It's really a crappy rod. I just use it for like when I'm wading in streams. If I just drop this rod in the water, I don't really have to worry about really ruining it at all. So really, you don't have to spend that much money on a good roostertail rod. I would highly recommend going to your local tackle shop or your Bass Pro and just ask the guys that work there and see what they say see if they can help you pick out the right combo for a good amount of money just for your roostertail fishing. Next, I'm going to talk about different types of brands to get for roostertails. Now, for roostertails, there's plenty of other different types of brands. I'm going to talk about the two main types of brands to get. Now, the first brand is the Warden's Roostertail, and this is just basically what a Warden's Roostertail looks like. They look very similar to the other brands, but their blades have a certain logo on them. Warden's is very good. Typically, they have a lot of different types of weight styles, different types of weights, and they have plenty of different colors. Typically, you get these for about $2.69. They're really cheap, but really, Warden's is a really popular brand, and I'll highly recommend you getting them. Now, the next brand is the Bass Pro XPS brand. And this is basically what a typical Bass Pro XPS roostertail looks like. Bass Pro XPS, they're really good. They sell different types of body styles, sort of like this minnow body style with a sort of a minnow pattern blade on it. That's the one thing that's unique about Bass Pro XPS. The only thing about them is that they can be very expensive. You can typically spend about $369 for these. It really all depends on the type of weight and the different types of body styles. Like this minnow body style, you might spend a little bit more. Or if you get like this normal sort of smooth weight style, you probably won't spend nearly as much on these. But either way, Warden's or Bass Pro XPS are two really good brands. And one thing I forgot to mention, when you're fishing these roostertails, one good tip to use is basically just putting a little bit of power bait on the end of your hook, sort of right around here. And this is basically what power bait looks like. It's basically just a soft dough that you can just mold into just little balls and basically just put it on your hook. It has a really good scent, and it adds a little bit of color to your lure as well. Typically you can get these for about $2 for about a 1 ounce can, but power bait is just another tip to use for roostertails. And that's pretty much all I wanted to cover for roostertails. Roostertails are a really good lure. I would highly recommend using them, especially if you're going for trout or chubs. But really, roostertails, that's always a great lure to go to, especially for trout. I hope this video is very informational to you guys. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.